Hi everyone, so today I want to talk about one of the most important purchases in your photography journey. So I'm talking about tripods, and really tripods are essential to a lot of types of photography. I mean, if you want to do any kind of long exposure photography or astrophotography or landscape, panoramas, macro photography, product photography, in my case, real estate photography. There's really, very few areas of photography that a tripod is not going to make it better. So it's important you get a good tripod and you get one that sort of matches the kind of work that you do and the workflow that you have. Now, one of the very first tripods I bought was this one here. When I started to get serious about photography, I decided to get, a decent tripod, and this is my Mefoto road trip travel that I bought 3 or 4 years ago. And at the time, for the money, this was the smallest, lightest tripod I could get. And as you can see, it compacts down. This is about 15 or 16 inches, and it weighs 3.6 pounds. It's or 1.6 kilos. And this has been great, and it's got the twist locks, and they come in different forms. Some tripods have the flip locks, just a matter of preference. But what I like to do with these is I like to loosen them all at once and then just let them drop down. And I'll do that with all 3 legs. And then when I'm done, I'll loosen them all up and then turn the tripod upside down, and all 3 come right back down. So that's just a quick tip to kind of set up your tripod quickly. And the other thing I liked about it is the way it folds in on itself, so it's more compact. And also the center column comes out so that you can flip it around to this side, like so. And then, you can get the camera down low to the ground like this, just lock the tabs in, and then you have your camera down here. And obviously you can adjust it to different lengths and heights, so you can get really low to the ground. And then also, the one thing that this does that some of the tripods don't, a lot of them do, but you can also take off one of these legs, like so, and this doubles as a monopod, like that, which I hardly ever use it like this, but that is an option. Which brings me to my next item here is my monopod. Because I found when I was doing my real estate photography in particular, and this would apply to anywhere that you're in tight spaces, like event photography or places that don't allow tripods. There's a little pin here I have to line it up with. There it is. That a monopod will come in a little bit handier. And this is my Siru P204S. They don't make this one anymore. They have a newer model out that I think the only difference is the way these things twist. They twist in a different direction. Some people are complaining that it wasn't righty-tighty or something. I don't care about that, but it has these wonderful feet on the bottom, nice and long and sturdy, so that I can just set it up. And I can cram this into a corner of a room and get a wider shot. I can walk out in the street, and this is a lot easier to just kind of tuck in and walk around in crowded streets. So if you're doing, event photography, street photography, this monopod is really ideal. And this is a very sturdy, heavy one. They have these really flimsy, lightweight ones. I don't recommend that because I've dropped my camera so many times with those. The skinny ones with the feet, I would avoid those. But yeah, that's the monopod, and that's helped me tremendously in my workflow. Then I started getting into video, so I picked up this Mefoto B-Free, and this has the flip lock type. And you can kind of do the same thing, unflip all 3, and just let all the legs slide out like so. And then when you're done, flip them back. So, like I said, functionally, there's really no difference between the flip locks and the twist locks. But what's the main difference with these video tripods are the heads on them. Is they flow very smoothly. You can tilt up and down, and you can pan left and right. and then it has a leveling base for slight adjustments so that when you are panning or tilting, you know, it'll be straight. And that's important in video work. Now for photography, you can get away with using this, especially if you're doing panoramas. You know, you get a nice level horizon. But generally speaking, having a ball head for photography is, you know, easier to use than this pan and tilt, because sometimes you need to tilt 90 degrees one way, and unless you have an L bracket on your camera, it's a little harder to do on this. So it's a little awkward for photography, the video heads. But, you know, if you were going to get one tripod and you want to do both photography and video, I'd recommend this one over either of these. Now that I'm using Micro Four Thirds, these tripods are really too much for this little tiny camera. You know, you really don't need this much stability or strength in a tripod to hold this little bitty camera. This is my E-M10 Mark II. So I went on a quest to find, you know, the perfect tripod for Micro Four Thirds, and so I tried one of the smaller tripods. It's not this one, but it was about this size. It was maybe about 2 inches longer when it was all collapsed down, and that was okay. You know, it was very well made and everything. It was a Benro something, and the problem with it was, once it was fully extended, it only got to about this high. I mean, I like the size and weight, and I could pack it in everywhere in my bag, but it only got this high, which, you know, helped, but it just still wasn't quite enough. So I went on a quest again to find the perfect tripod, and I think I found it. And honestly, this tripod, this is the Mefoto Backpacker Air. This tripod, when I saw it in the store and tried it out, I immediately bought 2 of these because I knew exactly what I'm going to be using this for. It's only like 10.5 inches, okay, in size, in length when it's all packed down. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but really, it's only the length of two of my E-M10s here, right? It's really small. And then if you look at it this way, the E-M10 Mark II is actually taller than the tripod when it's all put together, you know, all collapsed down. The E-M10 Mark II is actually bigger than the tripod. So this actually, in my Nikon bags that I used to use, this actually fits down straight like this, because it is the same size as my old 70-200 f2.8, or maybe even a little smaller than that lens. So this actually fits in my bag just like that lens did. And in my smaller bags, my Micro Four Thirds bags, I put it in horizontally like this. But this thing only weighs 2 pounds, or when I put it on my scale, it was like 875 grams. I mean, it's really super light, and it's actually very sturdy. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the features of this tripod and why I think you should add this to your camera bag. Because the best tripod is the one you have with you. Just like a camera, the best camera is the one you have with you. And because of its size and weight, this is the tripod I take with me everywhere now. I hated taking this thing with me. This thing feels like a brick now, you know, a stack of bricks now compared to this. Let's talk about some of the features of this tripod and why I think every photographer should have this in their bag, particularly Micro Four Thirds users, mainly because of the size and weight. It's really tiny, as I demonstrated. But it has all of the same features as my other Mefoto tripod over there. You know, the center column comes out so you can put it in upside down and get low down to the ground. Same 3 tabs to lock the feet. And it's a twist lock mechanism, kind of similar to the other one, but it's a single twist lock like this. They have some name for it. I mean, I've seen this kind of tech in some other consumer product. It wasn't photography related. I don't know what it was. But you just untwist it, extend it out, and then tighten it. And make sure you tighten these good and tight. I'll explain that in a minute. But when I looked at tripods that compacted down to this size, this was the problem I was having, is they only got about this high, and that's just not high enough. So what they did is they did the same thing to the center column so that it extends up. And has a standard Arca Swiss plate on the ball head, so I can just quickly mount my camera. And that's it, I'm all set. Now I'm at eye level. And this makes such a huge difference, and this is why I bought 2 of these right away, as soon as I saw that it was capable of getting up to this height and then still be really compact like this. And it's super lightweight. Now, you know, with lightweight and compactness comes sort of the downsides of those traits, right? When you have the center column all the way up like this, it can wobble a little bit. Once it stops moving and it's not windy out, I did a 45-minute exposure just like this the other night to do some star trails. I'm practicing some astrophotography, and it was fine. And a lot of the photography that I do, the long exposures, you know, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, I have no problem with this setup, as long as it's not too windy out. There can be a slight breeze. There was a slight breeze that night, but it was fine. And, you know, because really the best way to do long exposure is to have the column all the way down to the base here, and then have a heavier tripod. And that's the other problem, is this thing is so light that the camera almost acts like a sail when it's windy out, and it's very easy to tip over if there's a heavy wind. So just be conscious of that when you take something out this light. But for the most part, yeah, if it's not windy out, you're going to be fine with this at any height, really. And of course it has, you know, the standard 90-degree angle as well. And like I said, the center column comes out, and I think this is why this tripod is not selling too well, honestly, or one of the reasons. Is because they market this thing as a selfie stick. It comes with like a little Bluetooth button to turn on and off your phone, and it comes with like a phone bracket. And nobody's going to spend $80 for a selfie stick, okay? So Mefoto kind of made a mistake, I think, in marketing this as a selfie stick tripod. If they marketed this to Micro Four Thirds users, man, this would be a #1 seller in my opinion. But it is really, I think, the perfect blend and in the spirit of the Micro Four Thirds system, because our cameras are so light. Like this ball head, you know, I can adjust the tension knob like on the other tabletop tripod and put the camera in any position and it'll stay there. And that's because our cameras are so light that you can get that kind of action. And this is, you know, this is really a time saver as well in the field. And then you can lock it in. Now when you lock it in, oh, one more thing. And then if I want to pan and tilt, or pan, right, I can do that as well. But if you tighten this all the way down like this, you have to be a little conscious, because this is one of the common complaints of this tripod in the comments, was if you try and turn it now and pan now, you could loosen the center column and your camera's going to drop. And the same thing goes for the legs. If those are a little bit loose, your camera's going to start to droop like this as one of the legs start to, you know, shorten. So every time you set it down, make sure these are nice and tight, as tight as you can, okay? Otherwise, yeah, it's going to drop. And that happened to me a lot the first couple of times I took this out. Is I wasn't used to tightening the tripod up the way this one does. But now that I've been using it, you know, for a while, that never happens anymore. And honestly, like I said, I bought 2 of these, and I'll show you my other one here. I made a slight modification to this one. I put a little Velcro on here so I can put my wireless mic on. But I added some duct tape to this grip, to this leg here, and I added some duct tape to the center column here, because I never used the column all the way down retracted. And that gives you a lot better grip, because this side is really smooth as glass. And you know, if you're wearing knit gloves, yeah, this is a problem. And really, even handheld, this is really slippery. So I just taped some duct tape around it to give me a lot better grip. But you know, for vlogging, instead of using it like the selfie stick like I showed you on the other one, what I do is I just extend this one about so far, tighten it up, adjust this leg to the second notch, retract this back down, And then I rest this leg on my hip here, and this is now my vlogging setup. So a lot of the videos I've done in the last few weeks, this is how I've been vlogging. And this has been a tremendous help, because if you're holding it like this, just free-handed, this thing gets heavy after a while. Even this little 2-pound thing. So this makes a huge difference. And then, you know, I can be holding this camera and taking pictures while I'm vlogging, so you guys can kind of watch me on my photo walks. But yeah, this has been awesome. And that's why I bought two, because I knew right away that that's how I was going to use this system, was to vlog and do long exposure photography. And because it's so compact and lightweight, you know, I take it with me everywhere. Like I said, the best tripod is the one you have with you. In fact, this tripod here, with the camera on it, still weighs less than this Mefoto tripod, and they call this the road tripper. You know, this was supposed to be a backpacker traveler's tripod. This setup here with the camera weighs less than this tripod all by itself. I mean, I think by 200 or 300 grams at least. So, you know, that's why I take this one with me everywhere. In fact, if I put these two tripods together, they only weigh a little bit more than that tripod by itself. So it was a tremendous savings in weight and space, and I take it with me everywhere now. And I highly recommend you get this one as well, or add it. If you already have a tripod, you can add this one to your kit, because you're going to take this everywhere. You're never going to go out and say, man, I really don't want to bring this tripod. It's so clumsy and heavy. And this one, you won't worry about that. This weighs less than some lenses I have, to be honest. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up. If you have any questions or comments about this tripod, or, you know, any of the other tripods and monopods that I have, you know, just leave them down below and I'll do the best I can to answer them. And, you know, that kind of reminds me, I've been getting some feedback lately, and I get this time to time, you know, Olympus should make me like an Olympus visionary. And when I first saw that, I had to look it up, and I'm like, oh, wow, look at these guys, you know. That would be kind of cool. But honestly, I think Olympus wants people that can take good pictures, right? And that's not me, trust me. I've seen you guys on Instagram, and you guys are much closer to being a visionary than I'll ever be. So I appreciate the sentiment, but let's not hold our breath, okay? And honestly, it's not that important. What's important to me is that I make content that you guys like. You know, so, you know, that's all that really matters to me, is that I can make useful content that helps you guys. Not if I get some kind of status or designation as an Olympus visionary. That's, you know, that's just sort of along the side. If anything, that might even take away some of my credibility, right? Because then you'll start thinking I'm sponsored and everything. But anyway, that's it for today. So thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more videos, just hit that subscribe button, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.